Okay, so this video is going to cover multi-view drawings. We'll do a quick little look through this Project Lead the Way page. I'll also include the link to this, probably just right below the video, actually. So I would encourage you to take a look at this page on Project Lead the Way just to get a little bit more information. But just know that we're going to actually do this assignment just a little bit differently than Project Lead the Way does. So make sure you're following the assignment directions on this one. So this is all about what's called multi-view drawings. And basically the idea here is that multi-view drawings are going to be a way to show multiple faces of an object in a way that's actually true to the real shape. So when we talked about isometrics, we talked about how the measurements of those drawings were correct, but the actual angles were not correct. The shapes of the faces were not correct. So things like squares didn't look like squares, they look like diamonds. And that causes some problems that we can fix with what are called multi-view drawings. And so that just kind of mentions that here. Pictorials do not provide accurate information or true size, anything like that. So in order to accurately show what we want, in engineering, we use a multi-view drawing. And a multi-view drawing is going to show, like I said, multiple faces. So probably like the front view, a right view, a top view, more if we need to. And the definition they give here is a drawing which contains views of an object projected onto two or more orthographic planes. You have no idea what that means. That's okay. What we're visualizing here with this is looking at a part or a shape or whatever from one direction and just drawing the outline that we see from that side. So if we're looking at this shape from this view, what we're going to see is these 5 line segments that outline this shape, and that is it. That would be those green lines right there. It's all we would draw for our orthographic projection or our front view of this shape. Here's an example of a chair done the same way. You'll see that in the isometric view, we get the kind of overview of the whole shape, but again, measurements are not quite correct in an isometric view. Things that are square in real life are not square in the multi-view. So we've got a multi-view shape here where we've got the top of the chair, the front of the chair, the right side of the chair, and that's all the information that we really need. We could, of course, include the left side or the back, but in this case, we don't really need that information because we have enough of it right here. The benefits of a view like this are things like this piece right here. It is a rectangle in real life, and it looks like a rectangle in the multi-view, whereas in the isometric view, it does not look like a rectangle, and that's a problem. So these views are going to give us what we need to actually create the part in real life. It's also going to give us a place when we start to add dimensions to our drawings. This apparently has some more stuff to it. I don't know what it does. Oh, there we go. Front view, top view, right side view. Very nice. Okay, and we'd also add additional orthographic views, or what they call different sides of the shape as we need to. What we have here, top, front, right, is kind of the default view. That's what I'm going to have you create in this assignment today, but we might need more, and in some cases, we can actually get away with less. So probably the most important thing that I keep track of here is alignment of our views. Now, like I said, we're not going to necessarily have all of these views, but we're going to have the top, the front, and the right usually. And we might add a left or a bottom or a rear if we need to. But these views have to be lined up. I'm going to use like light pencil lines to help line them up. But if you're also using graph paper, I provided some graph paper in the assignment for you to use the lines to help line it up. That's one thing I will for sure have you redo. If you have a top view over here and then your right side views over there, and they're not in line, they're not in this orientation, then I'm probably going to have you redo it. So top, front, right, all lined up like that. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to go ahead and just leave this bottom part off here for now, because I'm not going to have you actually do these things. We'll talk a little about line conventions as we do a couple of examples, and I'll show you what you're doing. Okay, so I'm going to switch over to the ladybug here. Hopefully that focuses. So I'm actually going to have you do these on the isometric drawings, the 20 shapes drawings that we've been using for a while here. So we'll go ahead and start with, I'm trying to think of the ones that I had you do. I think you're going to do 1, 4, and 7 on this front page. So we're going to stay away from those 3. But let's go ahead and just take a look at something like number 12. I think that would be a good place to start. So we're going to just use the exact same scale that's on here, because we don't want to be messing that up too much. It's just going to be easier if we keep the scale the same. But what we're looking at here is just thinking about coming in from the front of this shape first. If I'm coming in from this side, looking at it from that way, what shapes am I going to see? First thing I want to always look at is the outline, the complete outline of the shape. So I'm going to see a vertical line here. I'm going to see it come all the way over to here, down, down, and then all the way back. There's going to be this diagonal line in the middle where I'm going to see it kind of sticking out towards me, but we'll add that in later. So in my front view, I'm going to go ahead and just count these boxes here. It looks like it's 6 boxes tall. So I'm going to try to go 6 boxes tall. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Counting the width here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 boxes wide. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 boxes wide. To get over to where it cuts that corner off, it looks like I'm going 7 boxes there, so all but 2. And then I'm going like 3 up. So I've got that as my outline. That's the very outline of the shape, okay? Now, I definitely still need to include this part of the shape. If I'm looking at it from this side, this piece is coming out at my face. So I'm gonna notice that there's a line there, an edge there. And so I have to draw that in. So if I go 2 over, I can start my sketch there, and then it ends 3 over. So once I know those 2 points, then I can go ahead and just connect those. And so that's what this shape would look like from the front view. There's enough to tell that this part kind of sticks out further than this part, but that's all. It's not a 3-dimensional view, so we're not going to see everything in there. Now from there, I'm going to go ahead and do my next view. Now here's where you got to be, you got to be kind of visualizing this in your head. Now if I want to do the right side view, I'm going to be looking at it from this edge. Okay, and if you kind of think about what this looks like, this is going to actually just look like a rectangle as far as the outline. I'm going to see the very top of the shape, I'm going to see the sides of the shape, and the bottom of the shape. There's going to be some edges in the middle that we'll have to do, but the whole outline here is a rectangle. In order to get this lined up right, I'm going to make some construction lines. If you're doing this in pencil, you can just do a really light drawing. You can also just follow the lines on your graph paper too. So this box is still 6 tall. But if I look at how deep it is, it's 4 units deep. So I've got to go 4 units deep, and then that's my outline of the shape right there. Now looking at this item here, this picture, right down the middle of that, there's going to be an edge where I'm going to see that slanted line coming in right there. And then I'm also going to see this line here where it goes from being straight up and down to being tilted back at an angle, and that's halfway up. So a couple of things I want you to notice here is that the edges you see over here should line up exactly with the edges you see over there. Everything's lined up again. So this is my front view. This is my right side view. And now I'm going to go ahead and do my top view. Same deal. Everything's got to line up. So I'm going to just extend these lines up really lightly. I'm just trying to do them dark enough so you can see. On your paper, they just need to be dark enough that you can see them. So now I'm looking at this shape and I'm going, okay, so it is, again, it's 4 units deep and it's 9 units long. I'm going to get the 9 units right from here. So I can just go 9 units across and then 4 units deep. And it's going to look like that. Now, if you take a look at the top here, I have this little L shape that I'm seeing. That's going to show up as its own little thing. But I can use the sketch below it to help me out. So right here, if I just trace this line up, that's where that first edge, that edge right there is going to be. So I know I can go over 2, or I guess technically it's a back 2, and I'm going to bring this line over. And where I'm going to see that change is right here, where it goes from being flat to sloping down. And that is going to line up with where that happens right here. So again, I can just bring this up, and I'll know exactly where that happens. You certainly can count the boxes on these, but you don't have to, right? And so that's what I'd see from the top. So I can tell that this piece is not at the same height as this piece, and then this piece is not at the same height as that piece, and these are different from each other. But it's really hard to get a full picture without seeing every single side of it. But between those 3 views, we can kind of know what's going on. Now, the other thing we almost always add in the corner here is an isometric view. Now, you've got the isometric views here. So I'm not going to make you redraw them up there, but I want to see a top view, a front view, and a right view. They need to be lined up. They need to have all the edges in them. And they need to be drawn to scale. The papers here are big enough that one box on here can make a one box on here. That's perfectly fine. Now let's go ahead and take a look at some other shapes here, because we also want to talk about what happens when we have things called hidden lines or circles in our shape. So we're going to take a look at, we'll do one that's kind of like the one you have to do. We're going to take a look at number 12, because you're going to have to do number 11. So we'll do number 12 together. So if I'm looking at it from this side, what I'm going to see is basically just an upside down T. In order to help me figure out how wide this shape is, I'm going to just kind of square off these corners just to help me count a little bit better. And then I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I think it's 12 boxes across. It's like 4, 4, and 4. 12 boxes across altogether. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 12 boxes across. Each of these little pieces here is 2 boxes tall. We come in 4 boxes, we come in 4 boxes, and then this box here goes 5 tall. And again, I'm just counting these straight off of the document here. You have either a paper copy of this if you are doing the hybrid, or you've got the online version that you are certainly welcome to print off if you're online. Now, a couple of things here. We know that these areas here are curved. They're not, just straight rectangles. But because there's no edges on here, we don't draw anything differently. What we are going to have to draw in is the circles, the holes that are missing. And so what we do there is we use what are called hidden lines. So I know that there's a hole that goes right through here, and then right through here. And the way we do that is the edges of the hole get dashed lines like that. And then in order to show that this is circular, we put a center line right down the middle. Now, center lines look a lot like hidden lines, but they extend up past the part, just like that. So anytime you have a hole going through there, if it's circular, you'll have a center line. Anytime you have a cutout at all, you're going to show those edges that are not visible from the front with dashed lines. Now, same thing from the middle. We've got a hole that goes right through here. And then we'll have our center line like so, showing that it is a circular feature. From there, we're going to go ahead and just do the rest of these. Again, I like to use those construction lines really lightly. If you're using pencil, these are lighter than the normal lines. And now from this side, what I'm going to see is just the outline is just going to be a rectangle. So it's going to be my 7 boxes tall and 4 boxes deep. So I'll see a shape like that. Just so you know, this direction here, that's your depth. That's like how far you're going back into the part. This direction here is going to be your height. Here you've got height and you've got width. And in this view, you're going to have width and depth. So you've got your 3 principal dimensions. Now, a couple of other things. You are going to see a couple of edges here. So right here, you're going to see an edge. And now from this view, again, from this way, this top is rounded off. And so I just come in and kind of round off my edge. And then when you're doing this in pencil, this looks a little bit better. These would be really light. You'd kind of darken it in to get your shape. But that's what it's looking like from the side. Now, other things here. We still are going to see these holes from this view as hidden. We can't actually see those. So I'd want to have something like that. But this circle from this view, I am going to see as a circle. So I want to mark my center. So again, I can follow this over. That's my center. That gets a little plus sign where the center is. And then I'm going to draw that circle in. I'm not super great at drawing in circles, but we're going to do my best. So I'd have that. So in this view, I've got what's called a center mark. If you see a circle that looks like a circle, it needs a center mark. Those actually are included in your drawings. Right. When we go to add measurements to these, a lot of times you'll see them extended out further. But that would be the view from that side. Then when we go up to the top, we're going to do the same thing. In this case, I think it's 12 units wide, 4 units deep, just like it was before. Right in the middle, I'm going to see this thing sticking up. But I can't tell that it's rounded off from this view. What I can tell is rounded off is these. So I'd want to go in and add, rounded corners on here. I like to start off by making it a box just to kind of give me a size constraint or size idea, but you don't have to. If you want to draw the circle from the beginning, that's fine. Then I'm going to see these 2 circles from the top view. I'm actually going to see them as circles. So I'll put in the center marks. Notice how those center marks line up directly with those center lines, and I can sketch the circles in. In this little top piece, the circle that goes through the middle now is still going to be hidden in this view. So I'd have my hidden lines going through there and there. And then because it is a circular feature, a center line right through the middle. And there's my multi-view, my top view, my front view, my right side view. And in this view, again, we've got width and we've got depth. Sorry, you can't see that, but width and depth. So those views are lined up the way I need to see them. They've got everything in there. Solid lines represent actual lines or actual edges of the object that you can see from that view. The dashed lines are hidden, so things that you can't see from that view. You've got center lines, which show the center of any circular feature from the side. And then you've got the center marks for the centers of the circles. So the next thing you're going to see here, I've got the document for you. I've got the graph paper for you. You're welcome to print both of those out. If you're not going to print out the graph paper, or if you can't print out the graph paper, you're just going to have to do your best to get the scale approximately correct. Use those lines that you're seeing there. I don't know why I point over here. Use these lines to help you get these views lined up with each other. It is always going to go top, front, right. Always do that for today. We'll add more views or takeaway views later on. But I want top, front, right. I need to see the lines. And if you have graph paper, just count the boxes to get the size right. If you don't have graph paper, then you're going to have to spend some time focusing on proportions. Do your best on proportions. But number one thing you could do to help you out with this is get graph paper. So, like I said, directions for the assignment should be right down below here, along with the paper and a link to the Project Leadway page. Other than that, I will see you either, I don't know, whenever the next time we have either our Zoom class or in-person class, or you're welcome to shoot me an email, or if you're in the online group, stop by office hours.